A very good evening and thank you for joining GBS News at 9. My name is Paul Madenge and our sign language interpreter tonight it's Alan Kiama. To our first story, Deputy President Kithure Kindiki has today closed the devolution conference in Homa Bay County. Kindiki lauded devolution, emphasizing that the future of the Kenyan's development lies in devolution. The DP took the opportunity to ask the county chiefs to fight corruption, which continues to undermine the country's progress.
5-day second biannual governors conference came to a closure today as Deputy President Professor Kithure Kindiki officially brought the curtains down. 5-day devolution conference held in Homa Bay County marked a significant 12-year journey of devolution in the country. According to the Deputy President, the country's progress is anchored strongly on devolution.
I say this without any fear of contradiction, that of all the innovations of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, the most profound innovation and the crown jewel of our current constitution is devolution.
Kindiki underscored the need for a concerted effort in the fight against corruption, which he says has permeated all facets of the society and in the end derails development.
Time has come for us to face head-on the threat of corruption and the danger it poses for the sustainability of our democracy and of our country.
He emphasized the autonomy that now counties will enjoy over their resources, urging the MCS to exercise their power of oversight and representation as mandated in the Constitution.
Latest achievement has been the signing into law of a bill granting financial autonomy to our county assemblies so that they can provide effective as opposed to vindictive oversights over the executive at the county level. We hope that the county assemblies will use those resources to perfect their constitutional role of oversight and also of representation and legislation.
DP also challenged women leaders in the country to emulate what Governor Wanga is doing.
Going forward, let there be no doubt about what a woman can do as a leader. We applaud you, and you're a good example to our sisters and our daughters so that we can know that a woman is just as good, if not better, a leader than the rest of us.
The second in command was showered with gifts from the Council of Governors to the host county. And what a better way to bring the curtain down than to launch a model school feeding policy for counties.
Madam CEO of the Council of Governors, please join us on stage. Your Excellency, we will take a photo and the distribution of the booklets.
Victor GBS News.
Moving on, Laikipia West Member of Parliament and the Service Party leader Mwangi Kionjuri is urging border groups in Kirinyaga Central to embrace political tolerance, acknowledging the existence of different political camps and ideologies. Speaking at Kamuiru Boys during an empowerment program organized by Kirinyaga Central MP Gachuki Gitari, Kionjuri says such gatherings give citizens a chance to express their concerns directly to leaders. Here are the details.
During the empowerment program at Kaimuri Boys, Kionjuri told border riders that political differences are natural but should not lead to hostility among communities. Kionjuri noted that in the Mount Kenya region, divisions have often led to conflicts among community members. He recalled instances in the recent years where political differences turned personal, with relatives and neighbors turning against each other. He emphasized that the region's people are known for their dignity and respect across the country, and such conflicts tarnish that image.
Tunakubaliana sisi kama watu wa Mount Kenya region, hatutaki ile aibu ambaye tumejionea Mount Kenya region mwaka moja miaka mbili ambayo imepita. Ndugu akipigana na ndugu yake, dada akipigana na dada yake, mzee akipigana na ndugu yake. Hiyo maneno ndio tunaendelea kukubaliana, lazima yafike mwisho. Sisi watu ya Mount Kenya region ni watu ambao wako na heshima, na tuko na heshima yetu na tunaheshimika Kenya mzima.
Kiunjuri is calling for an end to political animosity, stressing that residents should respect diverse opinions while working towards common goals. He says Gen Z youth have the right to protest peacefully, but warns against looting or destruction of property, insisting that unity and respect should guide political discourse in the region.
Bereni, ungesikia watu wakiongea maneno ya maandamano, wanaongea maneno ya province zingine, sitaki kuwataja pia hawa. Unasikia wanasema maandamano ni ya watu fulani, maandamano inakuwa region fulani. Lakini siku ya leo Kenya mzima imeanza kusema maandamano ni watu wa Mount Kenya region. Sisi lazima tujitoe kwa hiyo aibu. Lazima tuwe wagwana wale tulikuwa Bereni.
The MP reaffirmed his commitment to fostering dialogue and harmony among all political players, adding that tolerance is the first step towards building a stronger, more cohesive Mount Kenya community.
Na sisi watu ya Mlima Kenya lazima tujue kwamba tuna Gen Zs. Wakati Gen Z wako na haki yao ya kwenda demonstration, lazima waende. Na hiyo sio kelele. Hiyo ni haki yao, wanafuatilia. Lakini wale wanafuja maduka ndiye tunakemea siku ya leo. Kwa sababu hakuna Gen Z anaweza fuja duka ya mama yake, ya baba yake, ya dada yake, ya kaka yake. Na hiyo tunataka tufahamishane watu ya Kirinyaga na watu ya Mlima. Tutofautishe wale majabasi na vijana wetu.
Molin Rono for GBS News.
And now, President William Ruto today hosted a delegation of grassroots leaders from Kisii and Nyamira counties at State House, Nairobi, where he unveiled Kenya shillings 100 billion development plan for the Gusii region. The meeting, which brought together political and professional figures, is seen as a strategic move to consolidate support in a region prevailed to be a key battlefield ahead of the 2027 general election. Our reporter Nancy Mudhoni has more.
Today continues his intense engagement with regional delegations, this time hosting leaders from Kisii and Nyamira counties at State House. He urged the leaders to have meaningful, result-oriented politics, not just noise.
Hatutaki siasa ya hewa bure, hatutaki siasa ya makelele bure, tunataka siasa ya issues, ya mpango, ya sera.
Passing on tangible development agenda, President Ruto gave detailed plans on housing projects and digital employment for the youths.
Saa hizi tukiongea hapa, tuko na pesa ya kusaidia vijana 100,000, 100,000. Kila kijana tunataka tumpatie shilingi 50,000.
The halls of power today witnessed a rare show of unity, stating their support for President Ruto come 2027 elections.
Ndio iko na maziwa, ndio iko na maendeleo, ndio iko na ile nyama ambao watu wanakula. Kwa hivyo tulikuwa tunaambia watu wetu lazima tukae kwa serikali mpaka 2032.
Arambe! Arambe! Tutam. Hiyo ndio lugha tuko nayo. Toire, toire.
The coming months will be the real test of whether this newfound unity will translate into tangible development on the ground. Reporting for GBS, I'm Nancy Mudhoni.
National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula has defended the National Government Constituency Development Fund, emphasizing its critical contribution to progressive development at both grassroots and national levels. He made the remarks today during the official launch of a newly constructed tuition block at St. Veronica Range RC Comprehensive School in Kanduyi constituency, amid calls from some quarters for the fund's abortion.
On Friday, National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula attended the launch of a newly constructed tuition block at St. Veronica Range RC Comprehensive School in Kanduyi constituency. The project was funded through the National Government Constituencies Development Fund. He thanked the court for affirming the NGCDF constitutionality, a decision he says secures the future of local development.
Na ukisunguka kila mahali mijengo kama hii kutokana na pesa za CDF, prudent use of public resources can be explained through NGCDF. Ndio mimi nimesema kwa vyovyote vile CDF itadumu. Nashukuru koti ya upeo kwa kuamua juzi ya kwamba CDF si kinyume ya katiba wala sheria yoyote.
Wetangula has reaffirmed the importance of the National Government Constituencies Development Fund in driving grassroots development. He also emphasized that the NGCDF has played a critical role in improving access to education.
Kwa sababu wananchi wanajua kwamba ukisunguka kaunti zote za Kenya huwezi kukosa miradi ya CDF yenye inaonekana. Kwa hivyo leo tukiwa hapa ni kielelezo kwa Kenya mzima that CDF works and CDF is here to stay.
Several leaders present backed Wetangula's remark, voicing strong support for the continued existence of the NGCDF. They credited it with expanding access to dignified learning space and improving service delivery at the constituency level.
So we also want to make Ranje an educational hub. Kwa sababu tuna ECD, ingawa hiyo ECD, unaona vile tunasema CDF inafanya kazi, unaona CDF, naona ECD vile iko. Ili mtu akitoka kwa ECD class, anaenda primary, anaenda secondary, anaenda university.
Na tukiwa hapa, Mheshimiwa Papa wa Roma, wao umeona kazi ambayo CDF inafanya. CDF ndio inabadilisha maisha ya watu wa Kenya. CDF ndio inapeleka watoto wa Kenya shuleni. Ndio inabadilisha mambo ya masomo katika nchi ya Kenya.
As debate over NGCDF's transparency continues, the Speaker reassures citizens the fund still delivers where it counts. Reporting for GBS TV, I'm Ibrahim Said.
It is time for us to take a short break. Keep your feedback streaming into our social media platform at GBS TV Africa. The SMS line is 21144. We will be right back.
Water remains to be the world's most precious commodity, but is the most misused. In times of drought, saving water is the only solution to making sure you have it. Don't use the shower when water is scarce. Instead, use the basin while bathing. Repair all leaking taps and pipes. Wash your car only whenever necessary. If not, use a piece of cloth to wipe it clean. Do not use the hose pipe to water your garden. Instead, use the water you clean your vegetable with to water your flowers. Do not release wastewater into rivers. Note that your downstream is someone else's upstream. Of all the waters available on Earth, only 1% is fit for human consumption. Every drop counts.
Are you all happy to see me? Yes, I'm also very happy to see you. We're going to make ta-da! A banana milk package. banana makes okay.
Our riddle for the day, guys. I am easy to lift but hard to throw. What am I?
I've been a sculptor for many years now. It's about 44 years since I started doing as professional state artist.
For 44 years. That's almost half a century. But now, where did it start? Before the 44 years, where did it start?
For me, I use art to document culture and speak more about human life and activities through art, because I regard art as visual literature.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back to our bulletin. And now, the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority, EPRA, has announced a decrease in the prices for super petrol and kerosene by 1 Kenya shilling per litre, while the prices of diesel remain unchanged. EPRA Director General Daniel Kipto, in a statement released on Thursday, said the prices will take effect from August 14, 2025 to September 14, 2025.
In Nairobi, super petrol will now cost 185 shillings and 31 cents. Diesel will cost 171 shillings and 58 cents, while kerosene will now cost 155 shillings and 58 cents. Last month, the cost of petrol, diesel and kerosene retailed at 186 shillings and 31 cents in Nairobi, while diesel sold out for 171 shillings and 58 cents and kerosene went for at 156 shillings and 58 cents. In Mombasa, super petrol will go for 182 shillings and 3 cents, diesel will cost 168 shillings and 30 cents, and kerosene will cost 152 shillings and 29 cents. In Kisumu, the cost for super petrol, diesel and kerosene will be 185 shillings and 16 cents, 171 shillings and 78 cents, and 155 shillings and 83 cents respectively. According to EPRA, the average landed cost of imported fuel changed slightly between June and July 2025. The super petrol dropped by 0.73% from US dollars 628 to US dollars 623 per cubic meter. Diesel rose by 3.08% from US dollars 616 to US dollars 638, while kerosene went up by 3.20% from US dollar 608 to US dollar 628 per cubic meter. The prices are inclusive of the 16% value-added tax, VAT, in line with the provisions of the Finance Act 2023, the Tax Law Amendments Act 2024, and the revised rates for excise duty adjustment for inflation as per legal notice number 194 of the 2020. The statement read in part. Reporting for GBS TV Business, I am John Kinyanjui.
Let's shift our focus to international news. In a historic and highly anticipated meeting today, US President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin met today face-to-face in Anchorage, Alaska. The two leaders, known for their unusual and often unpredictable diplomacy, spent several hours behind closed doors. We are now getting our first details on what was discussed and what this meeting could mean for international relations. Our reporter Nancy Mudhoni has the details.
The optics were everything. A simple handshake between two of the world's most powerful leaders, a gesture that for months has been the subject of intense speculation. This was the first time President Trump and President Putin had met since their last summit, and the stakes could not have been higher.
Probably in the first 2 minutes, I'll know exactly whether or not a deal can be made.
How will you know that?
because that's what I do. I make deals.
Inside the opulent conference room, the conversation was said to be both direct and surprisingly candid. The focus was from trade agreements to regional conflicts. Many, from a diplomatic sense, consider this meeting in favor of Putin.
Just the fact he's been invited to a world power like the U.S. is a big thing.
Really, really important moment for President Putin to be able to get inside Trump's head again and hopefully, from the Russian perspective, convince Trump that Russia's maximalist demands are what should drive negotiations with Ukraine.
A moment that was short on specifics but heavy in symbolism. Both men offered brief, positive statements describing them as tremendously successful and historic. Rubio is hopeful of Ukraine progress as Trump and Putin prepare for talks.
That's the reality of ongoing fighting, which is why a ceasefire is so critical. That's been our proposal from Jeddah when we left in Saudi Arabia. But we'll see what's possible tomorrow. Let's see how the talks go. And we're hopeful. We want there to be a peace. We're going to do everything we can to achieve one. But ultimately, it'll be up to Ukraine and Russia to agree.
And while both leaders have painted a picture of progress, the reality is that the real work has just begun. Reporting for GBS, I'm Nancy Mothoni.
And now, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi has sounded the alarm over what he calls costly mistakes by counties in handling foreign investors. Speaking at the devolution conference in Homa Bay, Mudavadi warned that such actions not only scare away much-needed capital, but also strain Kenya's diplomatic ties and saddle taxpayers with heavy bills. Susan Nganga reports.
Speaking in Homa Bay during this year's devolution conference, Mudavadi, who is also the Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, urged governors, county leaders, and residents to embrace a culture of welcome and protect when dealing with foreign investment.
Sometimes how we manage investments and foreign investments in our counties is absolutely critical.
He cited the 2019 case in Meru County. Mudavadi recalled how county officials allegedly orchestrated the eviction of a French investor from Leopard Rock Lounge, a 500 million luxury ecotourism facility inside Meru National Park.
Involving Leopard Rock Lodge. This was a luxury ecotourism facility which was built by a French investor at a cost of 500 million shillings. In 2019, the previous county administration, I'm not talking of the current one, I'm saying the previous one. That's why I said I mean no ill will. The previous county administration officials allegedly orchestrated forceful eviction of the investor, leading to the destruction of the lodge's infrastructure within Meru National Park. The investor, a French national, had legally leased the land and invested in this facility. But because of local politics, the damage was caused. This gentleman went to court. The courts ruled in favor of the investor, awarding compensation for breach of contract and unlawful eviction. The matter escalated internationally when the French embassy raised concerns with our national government, highlighting the damage to bilateral relations and investor confidence. Ultimately, in May 2025, the national government intervened at a cost of hundreds of millions of shillings, shifting the burden to taxpayers and underscoring how local missteps can impose national costs.
Mudavadi warned that such incidents send a chilling message to the global investment community, discouraging the very capital Kenya needs to create jobs and spur economic growth. He called on counties to adopt investor-friendly policies, streamline permits, establish strong dispute resolution mechanisms, and offer incentive for sustainable projects. Measures, he says, will encourage investors not just to come, but to stay and expand.
Kenyans in all our 47 counties and leaders in all our 47 counties that competition for foreign direct investment is absolutely essential for growth, for employment, for revenue, and if we do not respect the rule of law in those counties, we cause a lot of damage, and the consequences can be very grave.
The 2025 Devolution Conference is being held under the theme For the People, for Prosperity, Devolution as a catalyst for equity, inclusion, and social justice.
I'd like to thank the COG Secretariat team, led by the CEO, Madam Mary Mwiti, and the entire Secretariat. They have made trips here, they have spent sleepless nights. I know that seeing that this conference has become such a huge success gives you great satisfaction. I'd also like to the Lower Kamuda initiative, ensuring that our young children learn in dignified facilities. The hallmark of this initiative have been involved in.
And now, moving on, Ugandan opposition has challenged the law allowing the military tribunal to try civilians. Opposition leaders say President Yoweri Museveni is using the new law to persecute key opposition figures, including Kizza Besigye, who is still in detention since last year. In Tanzania, opposition leader Tundu Lissu is still struggling to argue his case of treason charges in court. He too is still held in detention.
From Kampala, Uganda, the opposition party, the National Unity Platform Party, has now moved to the Supreme Court of Uganda to challenge the right of the military tribunal being used to try civilians. The opposition wants the new law passed early this year by the parliament and signed into law by President Yoweri Museveni to be nullified. Uganda's opposition figure Kizza Besigye was brought through the military tribunal in November last year. However, case was transferred later following a Supreme Court ruling in January this year, barring civilians from trials through the same. The opposition argues that President Museveni is using the new law to pursue his political opponents. They assert that only politicians who use guns in violence should be tried by the law. Opposition leader Kizza Besigye has been denied bail and is still being held in detention. Other key opposition figures who have been tried by the military tribunal include Bobi Wine, who is still challenging President Museveni in the upcoming general election. While in Tanzania, opposition leader Tundu Lissu was adamant as he argued his case during a trial yesterday in court.
Kwa hiyo, Mheshimiwa, you are being invited. You are being invited to do something which will utterly destroy the credibility of these proceedings, that will utterly destroy your own credibility, that will render justice impossible.
Victor the ambassador.
The African Union has backed a campaign to urge the use by governments and international organizations of the 16th century Mercator map of the world in favor of the one that more accurately displays Africa's size, created by cartographer Gerald Mercator for navigation. The projection distorts continent sizes, enlarging the areas near the poles like North America and Greenland, while shrinking Africa and South America, as Davis Karani now reports.
Despite being the world's second largest continent by area with 54 nations and over 1 billion people, Africa's map structure has raised concerns over the shape projected on the map not being a reality, as the African Union Commission Deputy Chairperson Selma Malik Haddadi states.
It's the world's longest misinformation and disinformation campaign.
It might seem to be just a map, but in reality, it is not.
Criticism of Marketer Map is not new, but the Correct Map campaign led by advocacy group Africa, No Filter, and Speak Up Africa has revived the debate, urging organizations to adopt the 2018 Equal Earth projection, which tries to reflect the continent's true size.
There are alternatives to the Mercator projection. There is a very tangible link between the map and perception, because undermining and showing a reduced continent and a smaller continent very much undermines also that false perception of importance and power on the global.
The critiquing team has said that it has sent a request to the United Nations geospatial body, also abbreviated as GGIM.
What you were dreaming of was to have Pan-Africa, for the African continent to have no division. We have one president, but different portions. And I was telling them the instruction on the t-shirt to erase the line that divides Africa. I was telling them we have to erase the line, because the same line that divides Africa today, we have it. It is drawn by a family line.
A UN spokesperson has stated that once the original map is revived, it will be revived and approved by the committee of experts if necessary. How beneficial will reviewing the African continent map be to the entire continent? Davis Karani for GBS News.
It is time for us to take a short break. Keep your feedback streaming into our social media platform at GBS TV Africa. The SMS line is 21144. We will be right back.
But what is the problem? The problem, people don't want to hear the voice of Jesus, and they don't want to live through the voice of Jesus. But most of the time, people are living their life of struggling. The people who died before receiving Jesus Christ, the people who died in sin, those people, they will go to the judgment, they will go to the fire, and those people will say that they are dead because they will face the second death, which is the hellfire. People without knowing this, people think that, no, I should do something. No, I need to do something. Why? Because they don't know exact heart of God. They don't know exact will of God. And through this, God allowed His goodness. God allowed the problems in our life. And when God allowed this goodness leads us to.
Hello, my name is Nyabio. I'm from Mahanim. Call this school a good school because the second my mom saw it, she saw it was Christian-based. And when I see Christian-based, that's what the character my mother wants from me. And I like the sports that we play for PE. Like sometimes we play table tennis, we can play football, we match, and on Fridays we have games. And we verse the teachers in football. And this is why I think the school is the best school your children can go to.
And for the topic of the day is self-awareness and sisterhood. Self-awareness and sisterhood. People know they're self-aware, but if you don't know how to act on it, then you're not really as self-aware as you think.
I usually say garbage in, garbage out, and whatever you cannot give what you don't have. So impact yourself first and work on yourself. If you feel like they're draining you, well and good.
By the way, kuna kijana, unajua Ian amekuwa akinichanganya nini, and I really want us to be together. Unaambia Ian, acha nikwambie, ufanye hivi na hivi na hivi. Alafu tunakuja friend dinner or something, na kuna una turn up na Ian, are you mad?
You know, as adulting is adulting, right now is the real intentionality that comes in. But if you are self-aware as a person, you get to now be intentional with ask. Kama mmekuwa distant, you can reach out.
Today's game is sing the artist's song, right? Sing the artist's song.
Nyashinski!
Aya basi, sing for us. Twende nalo.
Uko sawa na wote malaika na mabawa ya wote wanakita wewe mama ya.
Everywhere, GBS.
Moving on to our international news. In 2024, both state and non-state actors used sexual violence as a weapon of war, torture, terrorism, and political repression against 4,600 survivors, according to the 16th annual report of the United Nations Secretary General on conflict-related sexual violence, marking a significant 25% increase from the previous year.
The report marks a staggering 25% increase from the previous year, with the highest number of cases recorded in the Central African Republic, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Haiti, Somalia, and South Sudan. To quickly summarize what has been included, 63 state and non-state parties are listed in the annex of the report, credibly suspected of committing or being responsible for patterns of rape and other forms of sexual violence in armed conflict, which is on the agenda of the Security Council. The report also introduces for the first time an appendix whereby parties are put on notice for potential listing in the next report of the Secretary General.
Moving on, after more than 2 years of civil war, Sudan is now showing early signs of recovery. In the capital, Khartoum, members of the Transitional Sovereignty Council visited the city international airport, a key site now under army control and slowly being rebuilt. As Elvis Muyodi reports, its reopening could mark a major turning point for the country. Here is more on what that could mean for the Sudan's future.
After 2 years of civil war, Sudan is beginning to rebuild. Members of the Transitional Sovereignty Council visited Khartoum International Airport, which was recaptured by the army in March. A new runway is complete, but terminals and basic services still need repair. Council member Ibrahim Jaber called the progress significant and expressed hope that flights and families would return soon. He described the airport as a vital lifeline, reconnecting millions of displaced Sudanese with their homes and livelihoods.
God willing that soon our planes will land and Sudanese people will return, especially after a long absence from their homeland. This will be a lifeline, connecting those who were displaced or forced to migrate with those who remained in Sudan. At the very least, a person will be able to see their home and workplace again. As a state, we'll also be able to receive here all the countries that have representation with us, and the movement of the state will continue.
The federal government may also return to Khartoum when the airport reopens, tentatively planned for October.
The budget here in Sudan is a war budget, but there are priorities. We look at which areas we can spend on that will provide services to citizens, and this is the most important thing. That's why it can be noticed that all the committee's work focuses on preparing service facilities, whether hospitals, electricity, water, or equipping the airport to enable aircraft operations at a reasonable level and to receive people.
With over 12 million displaced and half the population facing hunger, reopening the airport could help reach those in need. But lasting peace remains uncertain as fighting with the RSF continues in parts of the country. Elvis Muyodi, GBS News.
Moving on, the addition of libuk, a traditional DR Congo dish, to the eminent French Pet Laurins dictionary in its 2026 edition is stirring controversy as Congolese intellectuals argue the entry reduces the word's rich cultural meaning to the mere food, threatening to strip its deeper national significance. Here are the details.
Congolese cultural advocates have accused the Petit Larousse dictionary publishers of portraying Liboke dish through colonial lens. Liboke is a culinary staple across the Democratic Republic of Congo. While many Congo citizens take pride in its inclusion, scholars say the dictionary's definition, a dish made from fish or meat, wrapped in banana leaves and cooked over charcoal, fails to capture its roots in Lingala and its symbolic role in national unity.
Pour nous, chercheurs lingalophones, c'est très réducteur. Le liboke n'est pas qui là pour illustrer les histoires à manger, mais c'est bien au-delà de ça. Et moi, je dis déjà, ça c'est quelque chose à apprécier chez Larousse, mais je crois bien qu'il devrait avancer encore pour bien mûrir les recherches, en fait, de nous donner la vraie étymologie des mots liboke.
Former Minister Pepin Guilaume Manjolo recalls that under Mobutu's rule, Liboke was woven into the national slogan meaning united and undivided, symbolizing cohesion. Cultural promoters like Moise Edimo Lumbidi argue that the dictionary should have collaborated with academic counterparts in Congo to ensure an accurate, respectful entry.
Liboke Moko, c'est cette communion, cette unité nationale. D'abord, c'est pas cette nourriture d'abord. C'est-à-dire que dans la présentation croissante des choses, il y a l'aspect majeur qui est l'aspect social. Et puis, les aspects mineurs qui sont liés notamment à la nourriture. Voilà ce que je dirais moi. Et limiter ça à l'aspect alimentaire, c'est très bien pour eux, pour les Français, mais pas pour nous. Pas pour nous.
Critics now want Petit Larousse to revisit the entry, incorporating historical context and true etymology of Liboke. Though proud of the recognition, Congolese cultural leaders insist that without a richer definition, the word's inclusion risks becoming an empty token, missing the chance to honor its deeper cultural meaning. Molin Rono, GBS TV, Nairobi.
It's time for your most favorite segment of the show, the sports news. Let's get sporty. Now, the government has designated 6 official fan zones across Nairobi to give Harambee Stars supporters a safe and lively match day experience ahead of Sunday clash with Zambia in the 2024 African Nations Championship, CHAN. Cabinet Secretary for Youth Affairs, Creative Economy and Sports, Salim Vuria, said the fan zone will be located at Uhuru Park CBD, Lakisama Ngomo area, behind Kasarani Stadium, Dandora Stadium, Utalii Steamer Club, Jacaranda Grounds, and Kibera DC Grounds.
Sports Cabinet Secretary Salim Vuria said the move is meant to ease crowd pressure at Moi International Sports Center Kasarani, while bringing the stadium atmosphere closer to the neighbors. The CS noted that the move complements the government's broader efforts to ensure a safe, inclusive and enjoyable football experience for all supporters. Following a high-level meeting with CAF, FKF, the local organizing committee and the National Police Service, the government announced tighter security measures for Kasarani and Nyayo stadiums. The government is deploying additional security personnel to safeguard fans, players, teams and officials at the stadium. Only spectators with valid match tickets will be allowed entry into the venue, in strict compliance with CAF directives. He also challenged fans to be in their best behavior during the tournament. He also warned Kenyans against purchasing fake tickets to the games. CAF warned that repeated violation could see Kenya's home matches moved to other venues, co-hosts, Tanzania and Uganda, if the situation remains unresolved.
Tumekubaliana kwamba tuweze kuweka sehemu mbadala ambayo tutaweka hapo TV kubwa ambayo itaonyesha mashindano haya moja kwa moja ili kwa wale ambao hawataweza kufika katika kiwanja waweze kupata nafasi hiyo. Kwa hivyo tumetambua sehemu 6 ambazo tutaweka hapo. Pia wale mashabiki wataweza kuona mpira katika sehemu ya Uhuru Park, katika kiwanja ya Jacaranda, kiwanja ya Dandora, Kibra DC Ground, na nyuma ya kiwanja ya Kasarani pia tutaweka pamoja na utalii hapo karibu na Stima Club. Tutaweka pia sehemu nyingine ambapo mashabiki wanaweza kujionea hiki kilumbwe. Kwa hivyo mimi yangu tu ni kuwahimiza Wakenya.
CAF has set a maximum attendance of 27,000 fans for the Sunday match to maintain safety and order. Reporting for GBS TV Sports, I am John Kinyanjui.
Now, Kenya Volleyball Federation has unveiled the final 14 player squad that will represent the country at the upcoming FIVB 2025 World Championship, scheduled for August 22nd to September 7th in Thailand. The announcement was made at Samadel Inn Hotel, Nairobi, after weeks of intensive residential training at the Nyayo National Stadium Gymnasium.
Kenya, the 10-time African champions, are pooled in Group G alongside former European champions Poland, Germany and Vietnam. Malkia strikers will jet out of the country in 2 groups for 8 days in Vietnam, where they will have intense training and friendlies against the host and Spain before leaving for Thailand on August 19. Notably, Kenya prison setter Maclean Akoko was dropped from the final roster. 2 additional players, Directorate of Criminal Investigation outside HITA, Sarah Namisi, and Kenya Pipeline middle blocker, Marianne Sokoyo, have been included as training partners to sharpen the team's preparation. The final squad include setter Immaculate Nekesa and Frida Boke, liberos Celestine Nyongesa and Shalini Maiwa, left attackers Juliana Namutira, Meldine Sande, Veronica Adhiambo and Daisy Letting. Opposite hitters Pamela Adhiambo, Mercy Iminza and Malin Tata. Middle blockers Gladys Ekaru, Belinda Barasa and Lorraine Chebet. Training partners Sarah Namisi and Marianne Sokoyo. Reporting for GBS TV Sports, I am John Kinyanjui.
We have come to the end of the news bulletin. It's always a pleasure having you on board. Let's do this again next time, same channel. My name is Paul Madhenge and our sign language interpreter tonight has been Alan Kiama. Have a good night.
Everywhere, GBS.